Dear President of the ICC, Your Excellencies, dear ambassadors of the Netherlands and the Republic of Korea, distinguished representatives of the state parties and non-parties to the Rome Statute of the ICC, dear colleagues parliamentarians and dear friends from the civil society, how can we protect and advance peace and democracy in any society when the most horrific abuses of human rights and violations of international law, from genocide to crimes against humanity to war crimes and the crime of aggression, remain unpunished, fueling a culture of impunity that impedes the construction of state institutions? This is a question we expected to be obsolete in the year 2021, but that is still dramatically placed on our daily agenda as decision makers. In fact, the recent return to power after 20 years of the Taliban's totalitarian regime in Afghanistan must also be understood as a result of the total failure of governmental structures in which justice was absent and the army was not ready to fight for a state in which impunity of leaders implicated in the perpetration of atrocity crimes as well as corruption was rampant. The case of Afghanistan proves again the lesson from history that teaches us that a successful fight against impunity for atrocity crimes is a precondition to peace, a precondition to stability, human rights, democracy, and a sustainable development in a given society. As many states, like Afghanistan between 2001 and 2021, continue to be unwilling and unable to credibly put an end to impunity, an effective and universally supported ICC is more important and relevant than ever. This is the starting point for the engagement of the European Parliament and of the European Union as a whole in the global movement for international and domestic justice against the perpetration of atrocity crimes. Since the ICC's functioning is based on the jurisdictional criteria of territoriality or nationality of the perpetrators, universality of membership will mean universality in the exercise of a jurisdiction before the ICC. The EU decision of 2011 on the ICC calls all the institutions of the EU and its member states to promote the universality of the Rome Statute system through the universal ratification of the statute and, as decided by the European Parliament in an almost unanimous resolution of 17 July 2014 on the crime of aggression launched by PGA members, that's something I'm really honored always to remember, the ratification of all its amendments. This means that the EU is firmly committed to protect the integrity of the statute, which is a guarantee for the independence and impartiality of the court. The EU is also strongly engaged in increasing the effectiveness of the Rome Statute system by ensuring that domestic legal frameworks are equipped with the tools to advance the accountability for international crimes and to provide justice to victims at the domestic level. The full implementation of the Rome Statute includes the implementation of the principle of complementarity, comprising the definitions of the crimes of the Rome Statute and the general principles of international criminal law, and the implementation of the provisions on cooperation with the ICC and the conclusions of cooperation agreements between the states and the ICC, so that the ICC can fulfill its mandate. To advance these ambitious goals, it is paramount to create alliances and partnerships across continents and sectors. Bearing in mind that the ICC is a court without parliament, the European Parliament performs the vital role of a democratically elected body that supports the quest from civil society, victims and NGOs for the equality of all before the law, and the dynamic application of international criminal law and other remedial measures to prevent and address international crimes. In this enormously difficult task, we count on the partnership with the Parliamentarians for Global Action, which has developed within its membership in 132 countries at a global parliamentary constituency for the Rome Statute system and the ICC. At the European Parliament, we are ready to make use of every possible avenue and opportunity of political dialogue to advance new ratification of the Rome Statute, and our cooperation is crucial to this fight. Evidence of the importance of this synergy is, for example, the joint engagement with parliamentarians from Pacific Island states within the framework of the African, Caribbean, Pacific, the so-called ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly since 2017. Thanks to the force of PGA members and the colleagues from the European Parliament, we contributed to the last ratification of the statute by Kiribati and the renewed commitment by Tuvalu to do the same. Now we must be prepared to concert all our efforts and to increase our pressure on our colleagues participating in the Ukraine Parliamentary Association Committee, in the Euro-Latin American Parliamentary Assembly, the Eurolat, and the Delegation for Relations with the countries of Southeast Asia and ASEAN countries. To conclude, I would like to highlight the importance of global campaigns of civil society against impunity. These are essential to generate political endorsement and mobilization in support of the Rome Statute, and the work and activities of these organizations should never be conditioned to the consent of the territorial states affected by human rights violation or abuses of power. In this respect, the EU, through the European Commission, should continue to create and deepen partnerships and allocate its financial support for global civil society campaigns to the extent possible under the new NDICI 2021-2027. It cannot be stressed enough how indispensable is the role of organizations like Parliamentarians for Global Action in the efforts to achieve a universal ratification, and it should not be overlooked nor taken for granted. Therefore, on this occasion, I would like to send a message to all the 27 ICC states parties that are members of the EU to encourage them to work together to pressure the European Commission to resume its direct support to civil society and NGOs to achieve this important fundamental goal. With these feelings, I would like to send my deepest appreciation to all the colleagues and the speakers today, with the auspices for an interesting and fruitful debate, and with the hope as soon as the health situation will allow us to meet again in person, to continue together, hand by hand, our strong commitment for the fight against impunity, for a real accountability, and for finally having a universal ratification of the Statute of Rome. Thank you very much, and see you soon.